We're going to address 3 topics today. One is a question by Mr. Jimmy Bowers. That's what these books are for. 2 is my worst CGC unboxing ever. Forever. And then number 3 is, you know what? I want you guys to give me your opinion about this book. I'm going to tell you guys what this is all about. But first, my introduction. What up, my dudes? All right. That's it. That's the introduction you get, man. I'm not fancy. What do you think? This is comic time? All right. This is what we got. Mr. Jimmy Bowers asked me, Spec, what do you do with books that miss the 9.8? What do you do with them? Great question, because for anybody that's starting to grade, send books out to CGC, you don't want to keep sending them books, because a lot of the times, and especially with moderns, the vast majority of the time, you're going to pay more for the grading than you do for the book. All right, the entire premise of the PreScreen 9.8 is to try and get a 9.8 without having to press the book. That's really the entire premise for me. Okay. Now, if you have a press and you know how to press, then you can press it and send it in for a PreScreen 9.8, and you'll probably get better results than I do. I try to send books in that don't need presses because I don't have a press and I don't know how to press. The press is going to cost you more, of course, if you're getting it farmed out, outsourced, like I do with Mr. Kendra. It's going to cost you significantly more. You got to ship it to him, he's got to ship it to CGC, and you're going to get charged for the pressing fees. So what I do, these are some of the books that missed the 9.8. That one, this one, that one, they missed the 9.8. These missed the 9.8, right? I showed these in other unboxings, and I handle them in different ways. If I don't think that it's worth it to get it pressed, to spend the extra money on the press, then I just hold on to it to see what's going to happen with the book. Like a book like this book, if you try and look for Tony Stark number 13, this is the crane cover. There's not too many of these graded, all right? So it's very hard to gauge how much this is going to go for. So I'm going to wait until I think I picked up 6 9/8 on these. So I'm going to wait to see how I do with them. And if I don't do well, then they're just going to sit in my collection for a little bit until, see if maybe the book takes off or whatever. I could sell it raw and get my money back. I could do that as well, but that's a little bit harder to do in my position because of the eBay fees. Book like this is a little bit hard to do as well, because you can pick this book up for probably $100 in a CGC 9.8 right now. This is Something's Killing the Children number 9, second print. But I believe in this book so much that I think, and I inspected all of these books, by the way, that I think that with a press this can hit 9.8. So what I'm doing is I am getting these pressed by Mr. Kendra. This is part of my next submission to him, which I'm going to mail out tomorrow. And I'm sending them out again pre-screen, but this time they'll be pressed. There's other books that I'm also sending him that need presses. If you remember this book, Avengers Arena, Yes, I sold the 9.8. The loan 9.8 that I had, I sold it, but 250 bucks, not bad. I went out and bought me 2 more copies that look really nice. I think they need presses though. I'm not gonna try and get the pre-screen on these without pressing. I inspected them and I think they need presses, and I think they'll come back 9.8s after the press. A book like this is much easier to make a decision on because this book, even in a 9.4, goes for really good money, right? So I am going to send this out to get pressed, and I mean, even if it comes back, it's going to be pre-screen 9.8 because I think it is a 9.8 anyway. But that's a much easier decision than a book like this. This one is just something that I want to have all of mine number 9s and 9.8s. I do, because of what's coming, right? Because of what's coming, and I think Jessica is a really great character for that series. This is another one. This is a rare book. Forget the production on this, the print run, but it's a very low print run for the 3rd printing of New Agents of Atlas #1. So yeah, I think that's worth it. And then this one, I've seen it go on eBay for like 150, so I think it's worth it for what I paid for it to get it pressed and get that 9.8. The other 2 got 9.8s on them. These I already know are worth it because I was selling them for 150. Now I paid 50 bucks for each one of these. So with the shipping, I think it came out to like $55 or something less than that. So I'm gonna be on these for around 95 bucks more than likely when all is said and done to get them graded. Probably a little bit into the $100. So if I can still keep selling them at 150 for the 9.8s, which I think I can, I think it will because it's a great cover, then I mean, at least I won't come out losing with them. This is assuming they make the 9.8s, of course. Okay. Books like, say, this Barbaric #1, it hasn't really been going for much. You know, Something's Killing the Children #1, it hasn't really been going for much. So if I send this out to get pressed, I'm going to pay for the pressing. That it's going to put me in the red. Okay, I would be losing money at that point. I'm better off just selling this raw, but I'm not going to because I think this is still a good book, so I'm just going to hold it. That's what I do. Hold it in a short box. And look, I've said this before with comic collecting. A lot of the books that you get, the majority of your comic books, I'm not going to say they're going to be worthless, but they're not going to be worth much. You know, when you go out and get a hit, you got to take advantage of it. So I would suggest that when you spec, try and spec on something that's worth it. Now, if you're reading, if you like the read, let's say, all right, so let's go with these, right? So this is the Justice League run with the Darkseid War. It's a great read, by the way. It's Jeff Johns. Yeah, the guy that really stinks with Titans. But in comics, he's a totally different animal, right? This is a really great read, the Darkseid War. But the books aren't really worth much. You know, you can probably pick these up in dollar bins and conventions. Except for number 50, which I have up there. Where's 50? Oh, I need 50 right here. Right? But these are my reading copies. This is near mint to mint too, man. Should be. Maybe I should just get this pre-screen, right? Nah, not yet. Maybe later if I pick up like a trade paperback of Dark Side War or something like that. All right, books like this. I bought these from I think from Sands. I think it was Sands, the Cookie Man. He did say that they might need a press. Okay, he called them candidates, but with a press, and they certainly are. This one I have no intention of keeping because it's number 666. Yeah, nobody want to keep that, buddy. Nobody want to keep that. But the bottom line is, yeah, these are worth it to get, because I think that they can make the 9/8. They're worth it to get pressed, and this one needs to come back at a 9/8 really, or 9/6, but it's going to be pre-screen 9/8. And this one, if I miss after a press, if I miss the 9/8 on this one, it'll be sent again, but the next time it won't be pressed unless they mess it up somehow. And it's going to be sent back again to see what grade it gets. Even if you get a 9.4 on this, I'll get my money back, you know. But that's what I do. That's what I do. Hope that answers that question. But yeah, for the majority that miss, you're going to see books in here that are going to miss that I'm just going to hold. You know, you'll see what book is in here that missed a lot. That I really like the book, actually, but it goes for nothing right now. It goes for nothing. And I can't press it right now just because of the price that it's going for right now. All right, let's go to the next topic. Okay, I wanted to talk about this because when I got my 194 Mark Jewelers, I showed that there was a star right here by the price. However, that star was like hand drawn in, right? You're going to see like different symbols used. This is like a stamp that they put. It's a stamp star. That stamp was used in military bases. So it's considered a very rare book. It actually is a very rare book whenever you have a Mark Jewelers insert in it, and that's what that means, that it has a Mark Jewelers insert in it. I never liked the Mark Jewelers insert, but they've become very collectible, you know, because it's a difference in the book, and any time that a book has a difference from another book, becomes a highly collectible item. Most of the time you're going to see books like this not in the greatest condition. Okay, this is a mid to high grade book, but yeah, it's just something to keep in mind, because this could be overlooked by the owners of the comic book or the comic book shop, and you can find these in convention bins everywhere. Just look for the star. If you see a star, that's going to have a Mark Jewelers, you know, and it doesn't have to be a star like that. Again, it could be hand drawn in, you know, and you could just check it, take it out, and just see if you see the insert. This book is going into the PC. I'm going to have this graded. I'm going to have it pressed, obviously, and graded. But the only reason that I like this book, look, I've told you guys, I like powerful characters. The Blue Marvel, powerful character. Well, you know what? Talk about the Blue Marvel. Check this out, right? This is the first appearance of the Starjammers, XMen number 107. But that's not the reason why I got it. I like this because it's the first appearance of Kalark, the Strontian gladiator. This was such a clone of Superman that they even named him almost like Kalark, right? This is why, like, when I saw the Blue Marvel and I found out that he was black, Like I had to have that book because Marvel had made clones of Superman. I mean, they had this guy, they had Supreme, Hyperion, the Sentry, right? But they never they made aliens that were clones of Superman, but never a guy in that power level that was black. So that's what I liked about the Blue Marvel at first. Well, at first I liked the costume, you know, but yeah, they finally made a character that can hang with these guys and be his own original character. That, I mean, you could say, can you say that the Blue Marvel is a clone of Superman? No, but he's definitely at that power level. But Clark was a guy that I always liked. You know, the fight that he had with the Thing, and I think it was Fantastic Four 250. Oh, tremendous! He lifted the Baxter Building. Then with Thor, he's had some really great fights. Great fights with the Hulk. I think he fought Supreme also. No, actually, was it Hyperion? Was it Hyperion that he fought? Anyway, that's why I like that. And of course, at the end, you see the first appearance of the Starjammers. This book has a ton of first appearances. It just so happens that most of these guys are, you know, minor characters, you know, less than D-Devil, you know, D-level, I should say, D-level. Clark, I would say that's probably like a B or a C level character, you know, even though he does have his fan base, a little bit of a fan base. Just people do like the Gladiator. Here's another book we'll talk about. This was a fan magazine, The Comic Reader. Now, you guys tell me what you think about this, okay? The Comic Reader was a fan-based, fan-created magazine, you could say. It's a little bit bigger than a comic book. So if I put this comic right here, right? If you notice, it's going to extend a little bit more than a comic. I think I'm going to end up getting this one graded. I don't know if they're going to put it in a magazine format or a comic book format. Not sure. I'm going to send it as a comic book, but we'll see what they decide to do with it. But these guys had contacts within the comic book industry, and they would come up with concepts or with content that came out before the comic book. This particular one, issue number 215. Now the Comic Reader ran from the 60s into I believe it was 1984. This was almost at the end of the run of the Comic Reader. Then in the 90s, this did so well, or it was so good and it was missed, that Wizard Magazine came out with their own magazine, and with much better paper and everything. But this was essentially, they called it the TV guide of comics, but it was still fan based. This was not a Marvel Comics type thing or DC, but they would show previews. This particular issue, though, had that preview. You see that? That is the first image ever of the new costume for Spider-Man. This predates Amazing Spider-Man 252. That came out in 1984. This came out in December of 1983, and they just had a little preview. That's all that exists in this magazine. So I don't know, is this worth slabbing, is what I'm saying, because it's fan based. So it's not like if it's there are slabs here, but I don't think they're worth much. It's another book that most collectors don't really know about, you know. But it's just previews, and the quality is very cheap. It's like a newspaper, you know. It's like a newspaper is really what it is. But what do you guys think? I always found it like it was super cool that this is where, and you know, and they had to get this from somebody from the inside in Marvel Comics. You know, they had to get it from somebody. How else could they get it, right? But anyway, just wanted to show you guys that. And if you guys want to go after it, again, is the Comic Reader 215. They have different issues. They had the first image of Nova when Nova came out. You know. All right. Let's look at some pain over here, and I'm gonna feel some pain with this, and I'll show you numbers when this is all over. Here's the pain. 13 out of 25 made the cut. And they're not big books, man. They're not books that'll make you go, ooh. No. This is books that'll make you go, ouch. Especially with 13 of them making it. Okay, yeah, I just wanted to, you know, really to flip these. I think there were 2 books in here that might have been keepers. It was Wonder Woman's that didn't make it. Wonder Woman #1 that didn't make it. Only reason I got this was because it was a Deladera cover, and he doesn't really make store incentives, you know. So this is a store incentive that he made for number 16. So I figured, you know what, let's go after it. I went after 6 of them, and only 3 made the 9.8. But these have been sitting there. These are the 3. They've been sitting in CGC since May. They were checked in July. I sent them out in May, so I don't know how they've been stored. So I'm assuming that I'm going to have some type of waviness on the ones that missed it. Assuming. These are the 8th printing. There was 3 of them that made it. Made the 9/8. And oh yeah, Department of Truth. I sent 9 of these in. This is the big loser of the bunch. I have said that this cover is going to be the one that's going to be harder to get a 9/8 of than the cover A. Only 2 made the cut out of the 9. And then I have the Batman 244 homage covers, for Joker #4, I think. Yeah, for Joker #4. See, Batman 244 cover homage. And I think all of them made the 9/8 on these. It's a great cover. Yeah, that is a great cover. I do expect to do well with these. Definitely expect. These are going to be going on auctions on my comic shop for sure. They're going to be put in on auctions. Let's see what missed. Oh boy. Yeah, these Frisons were going to be really rough. Rough to get 9/8. They don't look bad actually, you know, but you could see, you see that? Like if you see, it's almost like something was resting on top. You see that? Press will get that out and everything, but again, going back to what Jimmy was talking about, you know, what do you do with these? Yeah, what you do with these is you hold on. Eventually, I'm not going to spend the money right now to press them. This is where it pays off to press the books yourself. And maybe I am going to try and learn so I could do a quick press. You know, maybe I could do something like that. I could save myself a ton of money, you know. Even though I know Mr. Kendrick can get these to a 9/8 for sure, but yeah, if I could do my own quick press, maybe have him press the bigger books, the Silver Age, the Bronze, Copper Age books, and I could just press the modern books like this. These are the two biggest books. They didn't make it, but they look good. These books look good. These I think are worth it to get the press to in order to get the 9/8. These are gonna go. These two Wonder Woman #1s are gonna go to Mr. Kendra to get for another pre-screen 9/8 after a press, of course. And these three. Now these three, they're not gonna be worth it. You know, obviously I'm gonna be putting the other three out, but I don't know, maybe sell them raw, or check to see how I'm going to do with the other ones. But I can't see how these are going to do too well. You know, even the 9/8s, I can't see how they're going to do well. And if you look at this book, you see it's a little bit wavy. Let me see. Nah, you can't really see it too well there. But there's nothing that I could see that's wrong with these. That's the plastic, that's not the book. See? I don't know. They missed it though. Alright. I'll show you guys some numbers that it solidifies the reason why you know you can't do the pre-screens anymore with these moderns. Like, you have to really pick these books out, and you got to make sure that you're picking winners. Alright, here's the numbers. Okay, this is why numbers matter, guys. For these 13 books, $392 were charged by CGC, $10.73 shipping to CGC, comes out to $402 divided by 13 9/8, comes out to $31 per each 9.8, $31. We're going to go back. I want you to pay attention to this. This is $467 for the grading fee for CGC. This is after the first grade hike. After the first grade hike. See the shipping? Shipping was only $48 because I use FedEx. FedEx is doing good things with CGC right now. They offer the better shipping option, so I take that. I'm gonna go back. I'm gonna go back to before there was a hike. This is before the first hike. There's been another hike after that. All right, this is before the first hike, and I paid more shipping here, $62 to UPS. This one was only $12. This was technically my worst ever. 12 9.8 came out to $24.20 on this one. This one though had some of the Halo graphic novels, so that ended up being really good for me, you know. Plus I had the Deadpool 13s with the Scarlet Witch and the Vision, and those did really well for me also. All right, but $24.20, you see the difference, versus $31. And that was 12 though, so let's say if I would have gotten 13 out of here, it probably would have been around $25 a book, you know, but it's still a $6 difference. Where does it matter? This is where it matters, right? On this book right now, I have $31 in grading fees, plus another $27 on the book. Actually, it's around $28 on the book. So just right off the bat, it's we're going to say 28 and 31. That's almost 60 bucks. We're talking about $59 right there on this book. If I send it out to sell at my comic shop, first of all, it's gonna cost me $3 to send it out to them to get sold, right? Then they're gonna charge me 10%. So if this sells for 70 bucks, it's gonna cost me another $10. So it'll be, I'll be even on this book. Even, Steven. Pretty much it's a wash. Awful. It's awful numbers, right? At least now this is assuming I can get 70 bucks. I imagine if it goes for 50 bucks, now you're looking at a $20 loss, okay? And I would have to take the loss, by the way, all right, because I'm not planning on holding these books. So these will be going into my comic shop auctions. This one, however, will not. This one I'm going to hold off on because, like I said, I'm really high on this series. And even though I could probably sell this for sure for $75 or whatever, I'm not going to. I am going to wait for this book to be a $200 book before I sell it. And it doesn't matter how long I wait. I really don't care. I have a plethora of these. Okay. Book like this. Now it's $31 for these two books. Right? These two books. The two that came. $31. Plus I'm in 20 on the book. So now I'm $51 into the book. And then whatever my comic shop fees are going to be. So if I wait on this book, then, you know, it becomes worth it. This one becomes worth it. But at $31, at least if it was at $25, right? $25, it gives me a little bit of leeway with a book like this, let's say, right? At least the loss, or you know, if it sells for $70, I would make $5 on it. At least I make something out of it. The investment is too great. Now we have another grade hike, and it costs $8 per reject. What I'm trying to tell you guys is that it is not worth it to send pre-screen 9.8 on moderns unless you're picking those up at cover price. Store variants, incentives are not worth it, and you have to put that in your mind, because it's going to cost you money. It's going to cost me money. It's going to cost me money. Learn from my mistakes so you don't make them, right? Learn from somebody else's mistakes. Idiocy. I should know better, but yeah, I'm gonna definitely keep sending certain books in, but definitely not the quantity that I've been sending. And I've talked about this already, and I've already started. So, hey, have a good night, my dudes.